Today I'm joined by one of Wedgwood's amazing residential home supervisors, DeeDee. Thanks for taking the time for this coffee break conversation.
Thank you for having me.
So how long have you been a part of Team Wedgwood?
I've been a part of Team Wedgwood 14 years. Well, actually, it's going on 14 years. It will be 14 years, October the 28th.
That's so exciting.
This year, yes.
That's a long time to be in one job.
Yes, it is.
So currently you are the supervisor of one of our specialized residential treatment homes, the Zondervan Home.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we serve the youth that we have at the Zondervan program. They come to us between the ages of 12 through 18 years old. A lot of these youth that come to us, they're broken. They have a lot of trauma issues, trauma concerns, abuse, neglect. Some of them come to us, from the JJ system. And so our responsibility when we get these kids in there is, to love on these clients, provide care, provide treatment for them, and just to help them to be normal and to be stable again.
Mm-hmm. And the Zondervan program is all boys, correct?
Yes, the Zondervan program, it is all boys program.
Okay.
So we serve up to 12 clients. Right now, we have 11.
Okay.
So, but we can serve up to 12 kids.
Okay. So it's teenage boys who are coming with a lot of trauma.
A lot of trauma, yes.
So what sort of treatment and care are you and your team providing these kids while they're in the Zondervan program?
Okay. So we provide therapeutic treatment for each client that come in. As I said previous, we serve up to 12 clients. Right now we have 11 clients that there. One thing that me and my staff, we realize is that each kid that comes to us, they all have different treatment. Mm-hmm. No two kids are the same. Mm-hmm. They all have the same goals. They come with different situations, different traumas. So we have to look at each case differently. Mm-hmm. And so the thing that we try to do, we do our best at making sure that we provide the treatment that fit their need. Mm-hmm. So like I said earlier, they come in, they experience trauma, they experience abuse, neglect, and all kind of hardship. So myself and I, we do our best to love on these clients in their hurting state. We do our best to lift up their spirits. We try to get them ready and productive for the real world when they leave there. Mm-hmm. So we do a lot of encouragement, a lot of therapeutic treatments, DBT, group with the kids, stuff like that. There's mainly things to try to help them to incorporate what we're teaching them and what we learn in them so that when they leave, they know, we're getting ready. So we try to get them unified with their family, unified with adopted families, foster families. But we do our best to try to make sure that they are prepared, that they are ready, that they are set, so that when they leave us, we have implanted something in them, made that impactful, that impact in them so that they can be ready when they leave us. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And I love that it's an individual approach, like you said, two kids are the same, so they all need a different goal. Yeah, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. So you also, I've heard that you serve in a pastoral role at your church.
Yes.
How does your faith impact or influence your work here at Wedgwood?
So at my church, it's not a pastor, it was the minister. So far as, I believe that, Christ is always talking about, ministering outside the four walls of the church. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we just think going to church is it, but that's not it. Mm-hmm. So it's always going outside the four walls of the church to make sure we're spreading the gospel, that we're showing love, that we are being an example like Christ was, right? Mm-hmm. So coming here, it gives me an opportunity to spread the gospel. It gives me an opportunity to spread the word of Christ. It gives me an opportunity to spread love, especially to the unlovables, especially to the clients who, don't have a mother figure, father figures, or aunt figures, grandma figures, just relationship, friendship.
Yeah.
So like I said, when some of these clients come in here, and of course, each kid that come in, they have a big old intake and they have a big old profile. So some of these kids that come in, when you look at all this big old stack of paper of what they did in their past, it's like, man, I try to encourage our staff, we're not going to judge them based on this information.
Sure.
Because if we think about it, God got a big old stack of stuff that we do that we have seen and we have not got stuff right? And so he's a God of a second chance, third chance, fourth chance, fifth chance. He's a loving God. He always forgives us, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's one thing my staff and I do, and I try to encourage them, is when these kids come in here, we get to know these kids for themselves. Mm-hmm. We build their rapport, we build their relationship, and we try not to look at their past. We try to see them for who God sees these young men as. Mm-hmm. And so my faith integrated over here it keeps me motivated, it keeps me encouraged, and it lets me know that I am doing the will of God outside of the four walls of the church. Because I'm doing it over here. We're going out to the nations, and we're going out to the world, and we're proclaiming God's truth. We're proclaiming God's love. And we letting these youth know that they are loved, regardless of what they did, that we are here to help them. We are here not to judge them, but to build them back up, to encourage them, to give them hope, to let them know that they don't have to be a product of what they came from, because they do have a second chance. So we do our best to give them a second chance.
It sounds like the Zondervan Home is just full of grace.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how do you see it having an impact in the lives of the kids and in their treatment? Faith.
I think it have a huge impact, because some of the young men that come to us, they don't read their Bible. They didn't read their Bible. They didn't believe in God. They didn't want to go to special worship. Of course, on Sunday, we go to church. They didn't want to have anything to do with going to church because of their past, because of their brokenness, because of the neglect and the abuse situation that they have found themselves in. They find themselves angry with God a lot. And so just seeing it, people demonstrating the love of Christ, talking about God. We have several staff that's a part of the Zondervan team that go to church, that serve in ministry, that's active. And we go to church on Sunday. So they take the kids with them, right? And so just to see that impartation and that change where some of the kids, they're starting to pray during dinner. They're starting to ask questions about God. And also what is very helpful is that the chaplaincy now have this thing called the Love, right? And so they go there, they want to go to Love group, and they're doing, the chaplaincy here is doing a great job with this love, bringing it back. Just showing them another way, and it's down to earth where something where they can understand. It's not speaking in tongue and always up there preaching and hollering, but it's more intentional where they can understand it. And they love this, and they love going to this love group. So just seeing that transition and that transformation where they came in and they didn't believe in God, they didn't think God was real, and they hated God because of what they've been through, to see the shift, to see that change where now they want to go to church, they want to talk about God, they want to pray during dinner, they want to pray when they go to bed, and they ask them for Bible. So that's a big shift. That's a big change.
It sounds like to me, because they're surrounded by your team and other adults who are displaying what they believe, they're acting it, not just talking it. So they're seeing an example of it, and then they're able to build healthy community. It kind of shifts any past perceptions that they might have had about the church or faith or God.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they always say, action speaks louder than words. So our action, what the staff is doing on the unit, it speaks louder than word. We don't have to go around to proclaim that we are Christians, that we love God. It's just that it's our actions. It's how we respond to crisis situation. It's how we respond. We on the unit, we probably get, chairs thrown at us, get called all kind of names except our name. But yet, when the client say, hey, can I go to the gym? Hey, can I go to coffee house? Hey, can I go to kids club? Hey, can I go to the movies? It's funny because the staff will take them and they'll look and they say, oh, you're going to take me somewhere and I just called you a racial name, or I just talked about your mom or your daddy or did something to you. And it's like, yes, because we don't hold grudges. And so we're showing you that in spite of how you act or how you respond to situations, we still care about you. So we have to let them know that.
And that, I imagine, for kids who have experienced so much trauma, knowing that their actions aren't who they are and people still love them for who they are has a big impact when they're doing therapy and group and all other kinds of treatment.
Oh, that's a huge impact. That's a very huge impact with the kids, because then they realize that they do have someone that's intentional. They have staff that's really intentional in their care. They have staff that's intentional with showing them that they love them. And they have staff that's intentional at not holding what they have done, at them or behind them. You know what I'm saying? So they're right there with these kids, walking right alongside them, demonstrating that we care, demonstrating that you are loved, demonstrating, like you said, you're not a product of your past. You don't have to be a product of what you came from, or we're not going to hurt you like your mom or your dad, your grandparents, or whoever may have caused abuse or caused trauma or caused you to go through what you go through. That's not what we do.
That's amazing. So how does it work for kids who don't have any interest in Christianity or God while they're here at Wedgwood?
So one thing we don't force Christianity upon no clients at all. So usually, like when we get ready to have devotions on the unit, or when it's time to go to church, or when it's time to go to love, or when it's time just to do anything that has to do with church or Christianity or God, if a client refuses to do it, that's their choice. And so they will not have no consequences. They will not have no backlashes, anything like that. We ask them what they want to do. They probably say, hey, I want to sit over here and do a puzzle. But during that time, because we do have a scheduled activity that we have to follow. So just say if it's time to go to love group, or it's time to go to church, and you have a kid that say, you know what, I don't want to go to church today. I want to go to the movies. We would not make no type of exception like that to take this kid to the movie, because we have a scheduled activity that we have to stick to. And so we can tell that client, you know what, you can sit up there and play a board game with another staff, or you can do something else in your room. But right now, it's devotion time or it's love group time. We're not going to force you to go, but you have to find something else to do during this time.
I think that's probably really important for kids who maybe especially have experienced some sort of religious trauma to not force that and just kind of let them be.
Let them be.
That's beautiful. So it seems to, at least in my role here at Wedgwood, my faith is a big motivator for why I want to work here and why I do what I do. And I imagine that's the same for you and your staff. So how does integrating faith into how we operate impact your team?
Well, Wedgwood is a Christian agency, first of all. And so the one thing I think for me and my team, especially I know for me, it's good to come to work where you can talk about God and read your Bible and be open and express that openly. A lot of times in the U.S., people are prosecuted for even mentioning the word God. And so I think just being able to be able to just talk about God and do devos and Christianity and all that good stuff like that, that's a good thing for me and my team. I might have to do that one over again.
No, I think that was great. I mean, if faith is something where you find a lot of hope, and if time, this job can be very challenging.
Yes.
And so if God is where you get your hope and you can openly talk about that and encourage one another with that, I imagine that is really helpful on the tough days.
Oh, yeah. You know what? It's very helpful. Like I said, in my 14 years that I've been here, it have been some days where, clients have not been nice. When I first started working here, I think I tore my ACL, so I was off for like 6 months. Got involved and they tried to do a restraint with physical management now. And it's like you said, it's hard. Coming in here working with tough teenagers between 12 to 18 years old. You getting hit with chairs. They throwing water. They spitting on you, pulling hair. And it's tough. So you have to know the line of the work that we in. You have to, make up your mind, like, why do I do what I do? When I go home sometime, I have people ask me, even in my church, they say, why you still working here? Like, them kids, they be beating up staff and all this and stuff. And I look at it as ministry. I look at it as, it's serving these clients. And so I do my due diligence to be mindful of my surroundings and be mindful of what I'm doing. But like you say, it's constantly building my faith. It's constantly giving me strength, and it's strengthening me in areas. It's giving me patience. That's one of the, fruits of the Spirit, just being patient with these kids, constantly demonstrating love. Because one thing I have learned, if every day was easy, if everything was just smooth sailing, it's easy to proclaim, oh, you know what, I'm a Christian, I love God, I love you, like Miss Hillary, I love you, but what about when those tough times come, when those tough days come, when the enemy come in, and everything just break loose on the unit? Can you still hold your peace? Can you still, be patient with the clients who done talk about your mama, talk about your daddy, who done threw a chair at you, pulled your hair and call you all kind of names? Can you still demonstrate God's love in those tough times to these kids? And so that's what these kids have to see. They have to see authentic. They have to see that you are real. I can tell you all day that I love you. I can tell you all day that I care about you. I can tell you all day that I'm here to provide care, to provide love, to provide you with the treatment that you need. But in those crisis situations, in those tough times, can I still look at you and can I still serve you? Can I still give you your medication? Can I still go in the kitchen and prepare your meal for you, knowing you just call me all kind of names, but shit, that's demonstrating love. So these kids have to see it.
Yeah, and teenagers, it feels like especially their like authenticity radar is very good. So they can scope that stuff out, and I imagine, you know, when they see the authenticity, it makes them feel safer, more at home.
Yeah. And with that too, Miss Hillary, it's all about that relationship. One thing me and my staff always do, and Zondervan program, we have a lot of veteran staff. There's a lot of veteran staff that's been around the agency. I saw you clunked when I said I've been here for 14 years, but we have staff that have been in the Zondervan Home 20 plus years.
That's amazing.
And so, again, I'm a supervisor over there, but just gleaning onto some of their responses and, you know, watching how they handle crisis situation, watching how they respond to stuff. It's just amazing to see this the staff that I work with, how patient they are, how lovable they are to these kids, how they open their arms up, how they constantly extending grace. And so, like you said, it's just the demonstration. It's the rapport you're building with these kids. And then once you start building a relationship with these kids, and then once you start building rapport with these kids, guess what? We start seeing behaviors decline. We start getting less and less name calling. We start getting less and less property destruction. So again, that's one thing that we're shooting towards, is just being authentic and just building those relationships.
Has God made something clear to you during your time here at Wedgwood?
Yes, he's made it clear that this is the place I'm supposed to be at.
Great. I'm happy about that. Is there a kid's story that has stuck with you, like some transformation that was especially impactful?
Yes, I'm going to share this. So we had this one client, I think it was last year. No, probably about a year and a half ago. So I had this one client that was on our unit. I'm not going to get off into details too much, but this one client, he came in, we talked about religion. So we do have clients that come in and they serve different gods. And so even if they come in and they want to serve Buddha or Nana Duce or whatever god they say they serve, one thing about Wedgwood that I was very impressed with, and I am impressed with, is that they allow kids to serve the God that they say they want to worship. And so we had a young man that was in our program, and the God that he served was called Nene Duce or whatever the name was, right? And so the chaplaincy program, they would get together, and what he'd do, he loved to burn incense and go outside and pray. He'd get in front of a tree, and it'd spend like 30 minutes, and he just, he just go out there and do what he do, right? And so not mocking his religions, but he always will mock the Christianity religions, right? And so one day at work, I was at work, me and another staff, which was Miss Becky, we was at work, and this young man, he did something, he harmed himself real bad. And it was to the point where he had to be hospitalized. And so I was told by a program manager that once they went to go see this young man, and so when this young man woke up from the hospital, the program manager ended up calling me and said, Mama DeeDee, you ain't gonna believe. The first thing this young man asked for was a Holy Bible. And he said, I believe in Mama DeeDee God now.
That's
and
amazing.
I teared up, and it was real bad because this is one of the young men's, every time he got time to pray, he was just like mock, he'll mock Christianity, he'll mock our God, he'll mock Jesus, he'll mock, he just would say something that was very distasteful and it was very hurtful, right? And I kept saying, you know what, just leave him alone. So when he wanted to go worship his God, he'll go outside, and some of the kids would try to make fun of his God. And I said, we're not gonna do tick for tat. Let him worship who he want to worship, but I know the one and only true living God, which is, is God, And so during that time, that was a very impactful story to see that he transitioned over to, to God, to Jesus Christ. And so I'm like, yeah, so like I said, just planting those seeds and allow, God to water those seeds. And that's what I tell staff every day. You know what? It's not our job to determine whether they're going to be successful in life or not. It's our job. We want them to be successful. But once we plant those seeds and we do the best that we can, that's all we can do and let God do the rest.
Amen. Amen. Is there anything you would want our listeners and donors to know about Wedgwood, the Zondervan Home, and the work that you and your team do?
Okay, so yes it is. So one thing I do want the donors and all the support system to know is that we definitely could not do this work without their support. We definitely could not do this work without their prayers, without their donations, without their kindness, without their generosity, even without them coming up here, just checking on, seeing how many clients we got, just asking for the needs, what kind of resources that we need to provide for these kids. We all know that Wedgwood is a nonprofit organization, right? And so we need the resources. We need the connections in the community. And so as far as with the donors, I appreciate everything that the donors are doing. Our clients appreciate everything that the donors are doing. Like a good example, this year Christmas, man, our boys had, each Christmas, our boys had so much stuff. I actually had one former client who left, was discharged like probably 2 years ago. He somehow he got in Facebook and messaged me, and he was like, Mama DeeDee, I wish I was at Wedgwood. And I said, why you wish you was at Wedgwood? You out. And he said, because I didn't get nothing for Christmas. And I'm like, what? He was like, I didn't get nothing for Christmas. And I'm like, man, so the donors need to know how important and how impactful that is, because that speaks volume, because they're doing this and they don't have to. But the smile, just the care that the kids appreciate them doing this, everything that they're doing is needed. It's very needed during this time and in this season, because, the kids appreciate it.
And what the donors are supporting is all stuff that Wedgwood goes above and beyond of what the state requires. And as you've shared, it clearly makes an impact in the kids' lives when we go above and beyond and provide all these extra, person-focused type services. It really makes an impact. So they are making the transformations possible.
Yes, and not only is they making an impact and they going above and beyond, but these kids have name brands item, slides and Nike shoes, the clothing that they purchase, the stuff, the quantity of stuff that they do, the quality of the stuff that they're giving is not no cheap stuff. So they really going above and beyond to make sure that they are making an impact in these youth life, which is very appreciated. I mean, just to see some of them kids open up their Christmas stuff, it's like, wow, I got this. I got Nikes, I got Champion, I got Adidas. These are name brand items that the donors really came in and, bless our boys with. And so it's appreciated.
Yeah, we have a really, really awesome community that supports Wedgwood. DeeDee, it was a pleasure to talk to you today. Your heart for the Lord and all of his children is really apparent, and it's such a blessing to have you on Wedgwood's team to extend God's love, hope, and healing. Thank you.